Hey guys, this is Jim Collins here. Listen, I just want to do a random video live stream to talk about a topic, something that I'm kind of excited about and something that I have been seeing. Hoping y'all guys, if you're not paying attention to it, just something I want to bring to y'all guys' attention. And what I want to talk about is the generation or the group of individuals that's actually I'm not going to say taking over the sport, but they are doing a lot of winning. It's not talked about. I have had a couple conversations, a little bit more than a couple, but I have had some conversations with guys from different parts of the world. And I'm saying that we all agree, but we've been having conversations on what we've been seeing, what we've been experiencing throughout competition, right? And we all came to an agreement that we all came to an agreement that we feel as though the new generation is doing a excellent job. I put up a post the other day about I put up a post the other day about the new generation, um, the job that they're doing, how they performing, and it actually makes me happy. I say it makes me happy because I say the future is bright. Who gets to carry on uh, this culture? It's always going to be the next generation, right? It's always going to be the next generation. But sometimes we don't talk about the next generation or the younger generation um, until the older generation pass on. And then once the older generation pass on, that younger generation becomes the older generation, right? But what I would say is what's wrong with talking about the younger and the new generation now, right? Um, I'm sorry about that. What's wrong with talking about the younger and the new generation now? And when I say younger and new, is because everybody don't get into game foul at the same age. So the younger and new generation. But this is what I want to talk about, what I have been seeing. And maybe somebody out there can kind of take some lessons from this. But I have been seeing this younger generation doing a phenomenal job. Um, and what I mean by phenomenal job is the foul has been performing extremely well, right? All the characteristics that you're looking for. They're competing really tough on the world stages all over the world. Not saying they're winning all the big shows, but this younger generation is giving everybody a run for their money. And depending on where they're located, what discipline that they're competing in, the results are different. But one thing I see universally from talking to many different people from many different parts of the world, the younger generation is really doing an excellent job in terms of breeding, conditioning, and care. I'm seeing a lot of healthy birds in great shape with all the characteristics that you're looking for. That's what I'm seeing. And the conversations that I'm having with different people in different parts of the world, they're seeing the exact same thing. So we've been having a really deep conversation about, how is that? Why are we not talking about this younger group or this newer group of competitors to our culture, to our sport? What's up, everybody checking in? Peter, my brother Peter Animuchikan. Hope all is well with everybody checking in. If y'all guys just checked in, I just wanted to do a random live to talk about this younger and new generation, their performance. I think they're doing very well. And I want to talk about the things that I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is this younger generation has a strong work ethic. They're very open minded. They're putting together their solid, they're putting together their breeding program. Their birds are coming in good shape and the birds are healthy. And I have an opportunity to talk to a lot of them. And what I have been seeing is they're very open minded, meaning that they have not solidified these belief systems to where they're not flexible in making adjustments or making changes. I don't think, from my experience, they really haven't solidified this if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset. It's like these guys are so hungry, they just want to win. And I'm not saying they'll do anything to win, but they're willing to adjust in any type of way that they need to adjust if they feel as though it's going to give them an edge. That's what I've been seeing. And from these conversations that I'm having with different cockers from all over the world, they're seeing the same thing. But the reason why they're not always highlighted is because they're not all winning the big shows. Still, a lot of the older guys, more experienced guys, are still winning the big shows. But throughout the year, the younger generation is doing an excellent job. And I'll tell you another thing. A lot of the big guys, more experienced guys that are winning the big shows, everybody working behind the scenes is young. Everybody working behind the scenes is young. Everybody working behind the scenes is I'm not going to say new, but they're younger, right? I'm not going to say any names and all that kind of stuff, but I'm looking at in some of the last big competitions, how young some of these handlers are in other parts of the world. Some of these handlers are like 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, handling in the big leagues. I mean, that is not being talked about. These individuals, yeah, they might didn't breed the bird and, they might have didn't feed them out, but I think we just can't overlook the fact that it's 15, 16, 7 years old in different parts of the world that is handling in major competition. To me, that is a huge accomplishment. I think that is a huge accomplishment. I think we need to talk more about it. To and again, this generation seems like they don't need pats on the back. They don't need pats on the back. They don't need nobody to let them know how good they are, anything like that. It seems like these guys are just hungry for knowledge, and all they want to do is compete. I had opportunity the other night at a tournament, witness a group of younger guys, and I had just seen them 2 weeks prior. Yeah, 2 weeks prior, win another tournament. I'm talking about a tough competition, and some friends of mine's had to face them, and I told them, I said, "Hey, listen, man, those guys are some really tough guys. They friends of mine. I know them. They're some really tough guys." And they say, "Yeah, it's funny because we're not from here, and we came here, competed, and once they seen our name on the board, they said the first thing to us was, y'all guys are competing against the tournament winners. It's a group of guys, young guys, that's winning so many tournaments. It is straight bananas. It's just unreal." And I think I wanted to talk about it because I want to give kudos to them, even though they're not looking for any of that. But then I also want to talk about, how are these young guys doing it? These guys ain't been in this sport no 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. These guys probably been in the sport 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. I mean, and they're already competing at the top of the food chain. Just think about it. If somebody's down in Mexico at 15, 16, 17 years old, handling, truly, how long has he been handling? You can't say he's been handling for 10 years. So what is these young guys doing to get so good so fast? And do we think it's going to continue? I mean, like, tell me what y'all guys think. I'm seeing it. I'm conversating with other guys that's seeing it in different parts of the world. It's just not in one place. But what do y'all guys think, man? I mean, what do y'all guys think about that? Do y'all guys think the future is bright? Do y'all guys still think the younger generation is lazy? They think they know it all. They don't like to listen. Is y'all perspective on this younger and new generation changing? Or do y'all guys still feel the same about this newer and younger generation? I really would like to know because I know what my opinion is about them. And I think the majority of them, even if they're not winning, even if they're not competing at the top of the food chain, from what I'm seeing, the majority of them are really striving to be the best that they can be. When I talk to them, they're all trying, they all have goals and aspirations to compete at the top of the food chain. I think that's great. Another thing that I think is great, and I'll keep saying this, is I'm really amazed of how much of the younger generation are still open minded. I guess because they're young, they're still moldable. But a lot of them are looking for information, and not information to just consume it, but literally information to apply it and to try it. Young guy reached out to me today, asked me, "Hey, listen, uh, what interviews would you reckon?" He might even be looking at this now. What interviews would you recommend that will talk about pointing? Right? This is a younger guy, right? And I know everybody said, "Oh, yeah, everybody want to know." Well, that's cool. So he asked me, what interviews would you direct me to? He said, because I watched all of them, but what interviews do you think I need to rewatch that will emphasize more on pointing? So my response was this. I say, listen, the interviews are not based on the pointing aspect. That's why they're based on the 362. Why? Because we already know social media is flooded with 700,000 techniques on pointing. Everybody's right. Everybody has the perfect way. Everybody. So what I told him is, I said, from my perspective, what I would advise you to do, and you can do whatever you want to do, I said is watch the interviews, and all of them have little tidbits, but we didn't focus on pointing too much. I gave him some names of individuals that we had interviewed that went a little bit more in depth. um, and I gave him a couple of resources. um, and he talked about, what do I think he should do? And I said, listen, what I think you should do is I think you should watch the interviews. But then also, as you watching the interviews, if you focus on the 362 and you're really doing your 362, you're not just throwing feed and filling up water bowls and cleaning out water bowls and giving worm pills. If you're doing more than that, you should know how your bird body's supposed to feel. I told him document, document, document. Go out there doing all different weathers when it's hot outside. Feel your birds when it's hot. Feel your birds when it's humid. Feel your birds when it's overcast. Feel your birds when it's freezing cold. Feel your birds. I cannot stress this enough. Feel, feel them. Pick them up. Feel them. Don't just pick them up and stroke your hand down in front of their breast. Feel their breast. You got fingertips. Feel the density of their muscles. Is their muscles really dense? Do they feel like water balloons? Is it mushy? Do they feel like a wet rag? Do they feel like lead? Those are all the things where you get muscle mind memory. But you can never learn that through a video. You can't learn that through a DVD. You can't learn that through a book. You can't learn that from somebody who ate nachos at the Bayou Club. Nobody can teach you a feel. The only way you can learn a feel is by feeling. That's the only way. Because what may be super soft to somebody may just be soft to the next guy. What may be a little firm to one guy, maybe might be medium to the other guy. I learned this from cooking. You can never learn on how a medium steak feel, a medium rare, a medium, a mid well, a well done, a rare. You can't learn, and you be able to do it just by touching it. Every chef can touch a steak and know if it's meat. He know the temperature. Or that steak medium rare, or that steak medium, or that steak mid well. That steak is well done. Every great chef can do that, but they never learn how to do that through a book, through a video, through somebody telling them. They learn that by putting their finger on hundreds, if not thousands of steaks, checking temp, checking temp, checking temp. And then when they cut it, they look, okay, I was right. It is medium rare. Checking temp. Cut it. Oh, okay, it is medium well. I was right. Or I thought that was medium and it's mid well. Or I thought that was medium and it's medium rare. You can only learn a feel of your fowl through doing it. And that's what I explained to him, and I harped on that. So I said, don't go out here and buy a book, a video, or DVD, or ask some group. They can never teach you how a muscle is feeling, because the only thing that you're doing is trying to interpret to them what it feels like. You can't interpret to them what it feels like. You can't. That's like you telling your doctor, when your doctor said, what's the rate of pain? 1 to 10. One guy might say it's an 8. The other guy might be like, maybe have a higher pain tolerance, like, it's a 3. The other one might be like, it's off the charts. It's the same way. So I said, that's number one. That's the first thing you need to do, is you need to learn how your birds feel. Not Fred's, not Tom's, not Suzanne's, not Pablo's. You need to learn how your birds are supposed to feel. Right? So that's step number one. Number two is document it. Document it. How does your bird feel? And it's only you and your book and your bird. So you don't need to interpret somebody else's description in your book. It's your notebook. Okay, he felt kind of firm today, or he felt kind of mushy today. His muscles is mushy, or he felt kind of plump today, or he felt really leady, like he was carrying a lot of, like he was really wet today. Document all of this stuff. Document the temperature outside, the weather conditions. Was it raining? Was it an overcast? Was it hot? Was it humid? Document all of this stuff. This is how you learn. You don't learn just consuming a whole bunch of third party and fourth party information. You learn by documenting your own experience and your own interpretations, right? And I said, so once you do that, then you do mock pointing at your house. Don't experiment on show day. You're going to get a lot of advice. Oh, if he's too dry, if he's too wet, give him a couple pecks of a pellet. But if you don't know how your fowl reacts to pellets, then what are you doing on show day? You doing nothing but experimenting. If he feels wet, oh, this guy from Nacho Days said give him a couple pellets. But you don't know how your fowl is going to react to 1 pellet, 2 pellet, 3 pellet, 5 pellets. You don't know how many pellets to give him. But if you try that at home, then the days that he's feeling really heavy, like he's really wet, take him in the cock house. Then start giving him pellets. And then pay attention to him and see how he react. Leave him in there over the next couple of days. Do a mock keep with him. If you got one that's really dry, bring him in the cock house. Start feeding him some stuff that's wet. Some soaked pellets. Whatever your technique is. Whatever your technique is. I don't want to get into technique so we don't turn this into a debate session. But whatever your technique is, bring him in the cock house and start experimenting with him. You're not causing him no harm. Only thing you're doing is teaching yourself. But what I also reiterate is document. Your mind plays tricks on you. You think you remember stuff. You don't remember stuff. That's why eyewitness is the most unreliable testimony inside of a trial. It's a proven fact. So your mind plays tricks on you. So document it. That's why, and I know an individual who left the States and went to Mexico and competed. And that was one of the things that he was very good at. And we worked on it. Hey, listen, bro, you need to document it. Let me give you some feedback on how I would document it. Then you also add the way that you have already been documenting it. He had a documented strategy when it came to sparring, rating them on sparring. So he had a system to document it on that, but he didn't have a system when it came to documenting of the humidity outside, the temperature outside, the weather outside, overcast, sunny, hot, or whatever, and then also documenting their weight and documenting that stuff. He didn't have a system towards that. So I shared a system with him on that. So he started doing that. And then putting 2 and 2 together, okay, I'm documenting. He feels a little lady today. It's overcast. It's about 72 degrees. The humidity is at 58. He's feeling leady. He spars them. and then he can rate the spar. Now he get an idea on how the bird react at that body feel, at that temperature, at that humidity, and at that weather condition. Why wouldn't you do that? What would hurt? How can that hurt you? That can only help you. Guys are, I don't need to do that. It's a waste of time. I already know how I feel. Well, let them not do it. You do it. You ain't even got to tell no one you're doing it. So you don't have to get any discouraging feedback from it. Just do it. That's it. Just do it. Um, but when I told him that information and that's the approach I would take, he replied back. Hold on, let me read what he replied back. Um, and again, because I'm giving everybody the same information, it's nothing. It's nothing different. He said, could not have given a better answer. Thank you, Mr. Jim. That's my whole point. So when somebody tell me that the younger generation is lazy and they don't want to work, that's just not my experience. I have a different experience than that. I have an experience of a young, newer generation of individuals that's still hungry, that's still moldable, that's not solidified or calcified in these absolute beliefs. They're still open-minded and they really want to win. And they know what it takes. Well, they don't know everything to win, but they know it's going to take hard work, dedication, commitment to win. There is no shortcuts. There is no shortcuts. There is no buying success. There's no magic trio. There's no magic hen. There's no magic cock. There's no magic pill. There's no magic syringe. There is no magic. Another thing that I'm seeing that these younger generations understanding is that they understand that this sport is multidimensional. They know it's multiple different parts to the success. They know it's not one thing. They're not hooked on all I need to do is buy this and then I'm going to get there. I think that's also a big help because what it does is it keeps the burden on them that it requires work to be successful, not it requires a transaction to be successful. It literally takes work. It doesn't matter if you got money or no money, you still have to put in the work. The vast majority, 90% of individuals in this sport don't have hired help. So what does that mean? Regardless if you got money or not, even if you got money, you may not be in an area where you can find reliable help. So it ain't always just like, oh, if I had the money. Sometimes you can have the money, and I know individuals with the money that's always struggling to find good help. So I'm saying all of this to say this younger generation gets it. They get it. And it makes me happy because I just feel as though that their future is bright. I feel as though a lot of curses and a lot of myths will be debunked with this new generation, this younger and new generation. And I don't think that just applies within game foul. I think in society, pretty much all over the world, because I got friends all over the world, this new generation is moving different. They moving different. They thinking different. They doing stuff. And I'm not talking about the small individuals who's extremists on whatever they're in that, the media highlights them. I'm just saying overall. So with talking with a lot of these young individuals, what I have learned, especially about this young team, they were so receptive to feedback that I was giving them, right? Which again was so surprising. And I say that because I've just always heard that the young generation think they know it all and they don't want to listen. But one of the things that I had seen with them is they had the genetics, birds had the conditioning, but I told them your birds can be a little bit more healthier. I personally think that your birds can be a little bit more healthier. They're not in bad shape, but they not at optimal health. And those guys was receptive to it. They didn't take offense to it and all. They said, well, what you suggest? We talked about some different things. They not only took the information, what I like about it is they didn't just take the information, they took the information and they applied it. They didn't just consume it. They consumed it and applied it. And when I seen them the other day, they just went like this to me. They gave me the salute. And I just was like, that's what I'm talking about. These young boys are doing their thing. And it just makes me so, so happy to actually see it. But they're doing a thing. They're doing a thing. Um, it's it's a lot of work too. I can tell you it's a lot of work. I get to see firsthand some of the best of the best. Guys been doing it for 30, 40 years. Guys who've been doing it for 3 and 4 years. You see the struggles, you see the uncertainties, you see the disappointment. Um, you see the lackluster performances. It'd be a lot of that going on too. It'd be a lot of that going on too. Um, you know, it's a lot of that going on. And I say to say that not in a negative way, but regardless of how many years you've been doing this, it will never be easy. I don't care how long you've been doing this, it will never be easy. If you're talking about winning, if you're talking about participating, then wins and losses really don't matter to you. You just participating in it. That's enough satisfaction for you. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're really trying to compete, trying to make it to Division 1, trying to, compete at the highest level, it ain't going to never get easy. How do I know that? The guys are, well, how do you know? Because I'm looking at guys who's been doing this 30, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and they still struggling today. Because the competition changes. They not struggling to defeat guys that's been in the sport just as long as them. They're struggling to defeat guys, and that's if they defeat them. Guys that been in this sport a quarter of the time that they've been in this sport. Because things change. And when things change, we all start from zero. That's what people don't understand. When things change, we all start from zero. Period. When we start feeding birds GMO corn, that was different than the whole corn that they had back in the nacho days. We all started from zero. So when changes come along, it literally you can't never rest on the fact you've been doing something for 30 or 40 years. Because the guy that's winning all elite competitions, every winner has not been in this sport 30, 40 years. So that just lets you know when you compete at a certain level, it's never going to get easy. But you gotta love it. And not just the love of it, what I have seen, again, from just my personal experience, is you need discipline more than you need passion. You need discipline more than you need passion. Passion is just an emotion. Discipline is a habit. You need good habits more than you need good emotions. Because regardless of how you feel today, you need to be able to get up and go out there and do exactly what those birds need from you, regardless of how you feel. When you passionate, you rah, 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 when you feeling good. But you take enough whoopings, your morale is going to start to drop a little bit because you are a human being. Unless you somebody from Mars, you ain't no different than every other human being. Some guys, it might take 5 losses to affect their morale. The other guy might take 10 to affect his morale. The other guy might be 15 to affect his morale. The other guy might be 8 seasons in a row of losing to affect his. Everybody got a limit. But that's where the discipline comes in at. Because discipline is habit. Discipline is a mindset. It's not an emotion. It's a habit. And just like you got discipline to get up and go to work every day, regardless of how you feel, you don't go to work to a job that you don't like because of passion. You get up and go to work because you're disciplined as a responsible adult to get up and say, I got to get up and go to work. You can choose to stay home. So now you see the difference. I think more people should focus on discipline and less on passion, because discipline is what gets you over the hump during a long haul. What's up, Lee? Cass in Louisiana. What's up, everybody? All y'all checking in. Boy Wonder, you're exactly right. Boy Wonder said, let me put this on the screen because it's so true. Uh 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 and Lee, I'm gonna put that on the screen as well. Look at this comment, man. Boy Wonder said, cats, guys, and cats we want to get rid of whole yards after taking a whooping. It's so true. And that is as true today as it was 40 years ago. True today as it was 40 years ago. Lee Best, this man has been all over the world and competed all over the world. So I would think that we can definitely. I think his perspective on things is definitely worth listening to. Lee Best said, "I think Roundup Ready corn made things harder to keep them healthy." That's exactly right, Lee. It's not a think; it's a scientific fact. It even applies to humans. It's not just chickens; it's humans as well. They showed a study where they put GMO corn and organic corn, and they let a squirrel come up to them, and the squirrel wouldn't eat the GMO corn. I think y'all can go on YouTube and watch that. He ate the natural corn, organic corn, but he would eat the GMO corn. And how did we come to an era where we're just calling regular stuff that was grown as just a regular fruit, regular vegetables, regular everything, as all of get this label as organic? It's just collard greens. It's just corn. But they had to label stuff that didn't have all this other stuff on as organic. And now it's 2 or 3 times more expensive. Thomas, hey brother. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, guys. So, like I say, if you really pay a lot of attention, and you're out there in the world competing at whatever level, or you're following individuals at every level, ask those guys at the top what it takes, man, because they don't always have good seasons. It's times they went out there with what they thought at the time was world beaters, and performance was trash. I see that a lot. It's almost like a jinx. It's almost like a jinx. Guys be like, oh, Jim, this one right here, you think those is good? Wait till you see this one right here. I be saying to myself, you shouldn't even say that, because it seems like every time somebody tell me that, every time somebody tell me that the performance is not, it didn't live up to their expectations. I don't know if it's being jinxed. I don't know if they set in a box too long. I don't know what it is. Um, but I'll tell you personally, I don't even say that because I'm not saying I'm superstitious, but I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say, hey, you think those are great? Wait till you see this one right here. Every time, no matter where I was at in the world, when somebody has said that to me, it never lived up to its expectation. It just didn't. And just imagine how many times that's happening to individuals who's not even saying that. Just imagine that. Imagine how many times individuals are not even saying that, but they're thinking in their mind, this one right here is right. I had a doctor that was, and this is funny. I had a doctor uh, that was talking about how good, and again, just another one of those examples, how good this one bird was. I would bet all kinds of money on it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling you, The other ones he had was pretty decent. They were pretty decent. So honestly, I wasn't expecting anything less because I'm like, oh, this guy right here has been bringing in some pretty decent foul, you know. But that one, he was doing all that rah rah rah, and me and my buddy joke about this even to today because it was this season. Uh, we still joke about it, and I'm telling you, that performance wasn't hitting on nothing. Wasn't hitting on nothing. Again, another example of you think those is good. Wait till you see this one. So I'm really paying attention. I'm really paying attention. And then when that performance is trash, I don't even want to catch eye contact with them because they already got to do the walk of shame. So I'm not even gonna give them eye contact. I'm just gonna turn away. Um, but yeah, so that's just something to just think about. That's just something to think about. But guys, to me, in my opinion, one of the things that I think that a few of the things that I think that is allowing this younger generation to compete against individuals at a high at a more experience that has probably 3 and sometimes 4 times more experience than them is their discipline and them being open-minded. I'm sure passion plays a role, but from what I seen, it's almost like business. You just got to be able to get up and get out there and do it. Passion is something like it's a hobby. The vast majority of I encounter or I deal with a lot of individuals that do this for a living, not as a hobby. So really, it's no different than a job. Um, and I know they got all these cliche things. Oh, if you can do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Man, throw all those sayings out the window. Throw them all out the window. Throw all them cliche sayings all out the window. Throw all that nonsense out the window. Because even when you are doing something that you love, you ain't got to love it every day. Some days things ain't going to work the way you want it to work in any sport that you're dealing with. You think every basketball player, he played basketball his life and wanted to get to the NBA. You think he wants to go out there every day? Just listen to stories of how many of them don't show up to practice. Think about it. Just listen to the stories of how many of them don't show up to practice. Because even when you're doing something you love, man, I'm telling you, when you're doing it as a job, it changes the whole perspective. And if you've never done it as a job, you never truly understand it. You'll never truly understand the feelings. What's up, Albuquerque? You'll never understand it. Until you do it as a job, you'll never understand it. And talking with a lot of these individuals, and I'll give you an example. There's a team here, 2 full-time, I think they got 2 full-time and there's 3 part-time that come a couple days a week. Last season, they showed 644 birds. 644 birds. When I went out there to visit them, I went out there to do some selection. And we ate. We went out there. They ate. They cooked ribs and all this Puerto Rican food. Had an unbelievable time out there. One of the top teams on the island. But I was looking up on their board, and I'm seeing these dates. And as I'm looking up on the board and I'm seeing these dates, I'm like, well, I see the dates. I see the Coliseum's name, and then I see a number. And I see a number. And I asked him, I said, well, what is that number? He's like, oh, that's how many fights we did that day. So I said, okay, so these are the dates, these are the pits, and the number on the end is the amount that y'all fought that day. He's like, yeah. So I'm adding it up. And like in 11 days, they fought 52 birds. In 11 days. They fought 52 birds in 11 days, right? So I'm looking at the other numbers on the board, and I'm like, I see a 644, and then I see a 377. So I said, so what do those numbers mean? He said, well, 644 is how many roosters we fought last season, and 377 is where we at this season, and our season doesn't end until October. So these guys are probably on track to show at least the same amount or more than they did last season. Dude, that man, let me tell you, it got to be. I don't know if it's passion or it's guys just showing up like they do the jobs for 30, 40 years that they not really crazy about, but they don't really hate. I think even sometimes these guys get so deep in this and they've been away from the workforce for so long that they would rather show roosters, even if they not as passionate as they was at the beginning about it. They would rather show roosters than go clock in a 9 to 5 job. That's also that's just my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. What's up, Sundown Game Farm? Um, that's just my personal opinion. I think some of these guys have been out the workforce for so long. I think they maybe left the workforce. Some of them never worked a job. Some of them has did roosters all their life. Graduated from school, even went to the university and never practiced. Like one of my trainers used to be had a bachelor's degree in accounting. I asked him if he ever worked a job. He said he never worked a job. Once he graduated from the college, he just from then on he just continued doing conditioning. He's a feeder. He said I never worked a job. But I believe it's not hard for me to believe that I think even some of these individuals, it gets to a point where I don't even know if they as passionate about when they first started out, if they that passionate today as they are more disciplined, meaning that they're treating it like a job. Just like you get up every day, you go to work and you do your job good to keep your job, to get good evaluations, to get a raise and, have some stability. I think some of these guys do the same thing. I think some of these guys look at the alternative. I can feed and compete with roosters and make a living, not get rich, or I can go and clock in 9 to 5 and make a living and not get rich. Think about that. What do y'all guys think? Do y'all think that makes sense? Do y'all guys think that some of these guys been just doing it so long? And I look at it also like this. Just like a lot of some of these guys are really, really good, it's no different than a job. You go to a job and some guys are really good at what they do at your job. Some of these guys feeding, conditioning, breeding, whatever category they're in, or if they're doing one man band, some of these guys are just good at what they do. Alejandro, yes, I believe definitely passion plays a role, but I also believe that some of these guys can continue to show for a living with very little passion. I think some of these guys just treat it as a job, and it's better than an alternative. That's what I think. Some, and what I mean is, it doesn't mean that they don't have any passion for it at all. But the common denominator that I'm seeing in the younger ones that's coming up in the sport that's doing well, in the ones that's young and at the top of the food chain already, and the older ones that's up there too, the common denominator that I'm seeing with these guys is these guys got discipline. These guys got discipline. And with discipline comes sacrifice. I am astonished of, first of all, the amount of birds some of these guys show, the amount of days of the week that they show all year long. It ain't easy. It's not easy. And I know some guys would think that they would love to do this for a living, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if doing it for a living would take the fun out of it, or I don't know if some of them are showing continue to do it because it's better than alternative of going to clocking 9 to 5. And I don't know if some of them is still burning with fire inside of them. I think it could be all of it. I think it could be all of it. But I'm saying all that to say, don't assume that they all fit in one niche. Don't assume that all of them are doing it just based on passion. Don't assume that all of them is doing it because it's just something that they're good at. I think all these guys are doing it for different reasons. And I'm not, and reason why I'm saying think, because I'm talking about the ones that I have never met. But all of the ones and y'all guys that I have met hundreds, if not thousands. Everybody doing it for a different reason. But the common denominator, and I can't stress this enough, the ones that's doing well have a lot of discipline. And not just discipline, but they have a lot of good habits. They have a lot of good habits. I know a guy, one of the top teams. We talked about some health things and different things that he can do, some different products that he can implement in his program. And even with him doing this stuff for so long, he was still open-minded and tried it immediately. And I chalk that up to these guys that's competing for a living. They are very open to anything that they think may give them an advantage. And I don't mean anything illegal, but anything ethical. They are very open to it. And maybe because they realize that, man, you only as good as your last show. Like you constantly, if you constantly got to be trying to improve, but not only improve, you gotta work on staying as good as that as you are already and not falling back, not getting lazy, not missing stuff, not getting slack, not trying to take shortcuts, still trying to keep a positive mindset. When you go out there and 1-2 weeks in a row, you just got your behind handed to you. How do you overcome that? And I think a lot of these younger guys, time would tell, but a lot of these guys younger, I think a lot of them is probably fueled with probably passion and discipline. I think the older guys is fueled with discipline and the need to pay their bills and passion as well. I'm talking about the guys who's doing it for a living, not the hobbyists who's showing but still go and clock in and clock out, which is the vast majority of the individuals in this sport. And I'm not going to say the individuals who do it for a living is a luxury, because that's not what everybody wants to do. Everybody doesn't want to do that. Just like everybody doesn't want a big farm. Everybody don't want 500 roosters. Everybody got their own deal, their own goals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Craig, I'm reading Craig's comment. Yeah. See, we got Craig here saying that, before they shut it down, he made a good living, and it'd be 10 to 1. He would rather be in a cock house than clock in at a job. And that's how some guys feel, and I'm telling you, I think some of these guys out here competing because it beats the alternative. Yeah, Charles. Yeah, for some guys, 50 is enough. Yeah, Charles is saying that Charles said if you work a job, 50 roosters is plenty. Yeah, it can definitely be plenty. Everybody got their own deal. It just depends on how much you want to show, how much you're willing to travel, what kind of job you have, if you got kids, if you got a whole bunch of additional responsibilities, outside of showing roosters. Everybody's situation is different. And I feel as though that is something that's important to consider. And I think it should be talked about more, because I think some individuals come into this sport with a false perspective on what this sport is really about, or what it takes to be successful in this sport. Um, I don't think a lot of guys realize how hard it is to stay good. Like, you might be good this year, but your good this year might not be good enough for next year. That's what I think a lot of guys don't understand. Your good this year may not be good enough next year. Just think about that. So it's very difficult to stay on top. It's not hard to participate. You just bring the Roosters, participate, go on home. You want to win, but you're not going to cry a tear if you don't win. You're not going to cry a tear if you don't win. That's guys participating, and if it makes them happy, so be it. And it's nothing wrong with that at all. You got to do what makes you happy, whatever level it is, whatever you decide to do. But I don't think a lot of guys realize how hard it is to stay good, because your good is not always good enough, if that makes sense. Listen to what I just said. Your good is not always good enough. What's good this year may not be good enough for next year. What you was able to win with this season, you might can't win with next season. Tonio talked about it in his interview. He said every 4 years, the competition in the Philippines almost completely change. It elevates. So he's telling you, the stuff that you've been using the last 4 years, if you ain't got nothing in the experiment bank, if you haven't made some adjustments to your selection process, if you haven't added something in or taken something out, whatever your formula is, in 4 years is not going to be good enough. You see what I'm saying? How when you get to talking to other people from different parts of the world, you can get a really different perspective on a lot of things. And I feel the same way here. It's hard to stay good. That's why I take my hat off to a lot of these guys that's been competing at the top for years. Man, that is not easy. And you cannot tell me they always having good days and good seasons. But they always figure out how not to end up on the bottom at the end of the season. Sometimes you fight harder trying not to hit the bottom than you do fighting to get to the top. Sometimes you're trying to fighting just to survive through the season. Nobody talks about that. It ain't all glory and wins, and he came out, he never got touched, he came out. All of those glory stories, man, this sport is not made up of glory stories. I mean, you can read a lot of glory stories. This sport is made up with a lot of hard work, sacrifice, and discipline, and a little bit of passion. That's what it's made up of. Not a whole bunch of war stories. That's social media. But in real life, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and a little bit of passion. Because you don't have to have, what I learned is, you do not have to have passion to be good in this sport. You just have to have a lot of discipline and you have to be willing to sacrifice. Yep. That's what I have learned. And I am telling you, it is times and it will be seasons where you are just fighting not to hit the bottom. You like, man, I ain't got no chance of even this season here. I ain't got no chance of hitting the percentages that I hit last season. I'm just not trying to end the season with a 30%. And that's true. That's right. Jeff Harris said, to me, dedication is the one main ingredient. That's what I'm saying. To me, dedication and discipline is like the same thing. I know technically they're different words, but if I had to describe another word for discipline, it's dedication. Because that means you're going to get up and go out there and do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Just like you get up and you go to work, even when you don't feel like going to work. You tired, you sick, you got a headache, you stressed out, you got a lot of things going on in the house, personal situations, financial situations, family situations, but you still get up and you go to work. That is the same habits, mindsets, dedication, discipline, whatever you want to label it. That is the same thing you need to be able to do when it comes to these roosters in this sport. That's a fact. You have to have that same identical mindset. And that is the common denominator that I have seen with guys who's able to compete at the top of the food chain all over the world. They all got that mindset. You think those guys don't have family problems, work problems, financial problems, all of the kids problems, marriage problems. You think they not all going through that? Everybody got their bag of problems, even when they got a smile on their face. Everybody got their bag of problems. So when you see somebody going year after year after year, I'm not saying they winning everything year after year after year, but they being very competitive year after year after year, man, that ain't easy. Because I guarantee throughout them years, they didn't have some problems. Some of them done been through divorces. Some of them done lost jobs. Some of them done got sick. All kinds. Some of them, family members done passed away. All kinds of situations, and they still competed. That crap is not easy. And I'm saying all of this because I'm trying to give y'all guys or anybody out there listening some real world examples. Not all of this glory. Not all of these stories, not all of this glory, not making you think everything is about feel good, passion, I'm winning. This bird is beautiful. He came out untouched. I did this guy. I did that guy. Man, those are all stories in real life. And I give you another example. As well. Jeff said another one. Just got to learn to push through it. Just like you do when you get up and push through and go to work, even though you got all that nonsense going on inside your home. And it may not even be nonsense. It could be health, whatever. You got to learn how to push through it. Josh said, yeah, that's a fact. I know it, brother. I know it, man. And Chris said, the winter time, I tell you, and that just depends on where you're at. It depends on where you're at, because sometimes, winter for some guys is hard, but then you go to places like Albuquerque, New Mexico. When I went out there for 9 days, and man, that temperature was 114 degrees. So I don't know, neck and neck. Is it easier to feed out there when it's a negative 17? Or is it easier to be out there at 114 degrees? It just depends on how you deal with the hot and how you deal with the cold. I'd rather deal with the heat. I can't deal with the cold. I know some people rather deal with the cold than deal with the heat. So if you flip-flop them around, both of them going to have some dedication and discipline to continue doing what you're doing. Both of them. Yeah, Alan said, Jeff and I cut teeth on each other. Yeah, man, it's all Charles said, I keep my winners, man. Yeah, it's all, like I say, man, there's a lot of guys like Jeff Harris, Alice, a lot of y'all, Charles, all y'all guys, man. A lot of y'all guys can also, oh, it looks like I could put these comments up on the screen. Can y'all guys read all the comments? But a lot of y'all older guys, man, I take my hat off to y'all guys and pay homage to your generation. And I'll be honest, not everybody in your generation, but vast majority of y'all, because y'all do got a small contaminated pool of individuals in y'all generation that do more harm than good, but we won't get into that. But I take my hat off to y'all guys, man, because y'all had went through some turbulent times. Y'all have seen a lot of changes. Y'all have went to wide open, straight legal to now being illegal. A lot of individuals that used to be in the sport are now out of the sport. And I'm not talking about from being passed away, but because of different laws, changes, and all of that. And y'all guys will still be hanging in there and breeding. It takes a lot. And it's guys like y'all that I'm talking about. I'm sure y'all guys can share some stories on I know y'all had a lot of transitions in your life outside of the Roosters from a personal standpoint. Not asking you to share your personal business, but from a personal standpoint, I know y'all guys have transitioned and went through a lot being in this sport 40 plus years. You know what I mean? And I think, and I know it's hard, but I think sometimes this younger generation can hear some encouraging words from guys like yourself. Um, Not so much on, oh, this how you point a rooster and this how you sometimes like, dude, I know you going through it right now, but you got to figure out a way to kind of push through it. Like Jeff said earlier. I know you going through it right now. I know you was on a losing streak this season. I know you may have lost your job and you may have to cut back. You may have to get rid of some of your roosters. Or you may have to get out of roosters a year or two. I think a lot of these older guys can bring a lot of value to the community and really make a huge positive impact on the next generation in a huge way. If they would just share some of that and not be so focused on, oh, the guy's hard-headed, he don't want to listen, and all of that, all that negative talk, I just think is bad. Just be like me, put the information out there. A person can listen to it if they want, or they can scroll on to the next video if they want. But it's a lot of guys out there that would love to hear from guys that's been in 30, 40 years. And I'll give you a prime example. I shared a video the other day about the Big Derb. They threw a seminar down in Mexico. And guys like Brian Cochran and AK and there's a whole bunch of guys, great Mexican top guys, right, at this seminar. And I shared a clip of Brian Cochran, what he said about something. And I shared it to my page, right? What he said is something that I've been saying, I said years ago. But obviously it fell on deaf ears because I wasn't a figure that they consider worth listening to. And that's 100% okay. And I completely understand it. But it just goes to show, just because you haven't been doing something for 40 years, don't mean you don't know what you're talking about. Everybody learns at different levels, especially based on their exposure. The exposure I'm getting now was the same as the exposure that guys was getting 30, 40 years ago. Living in a country where it's complete, where it's legal and you can show every single weekend somewhere in the country. You see what I'm saying? So I'm getting that experience of the Nacho days or the, Copper State and all that kind of stuff. And we always just talk about these big places. There's a whole bunch of small places that was just as tough, but they wasn't as famous, but they're just as tough. And they had breeders that were small, but they were really, really good. They were really tough. They knew what they was talking about, and they had great fowl. And it's the same thing here. Just because these guys are not social media superheroes, you don't see them plastered all over the place. And just because they can't bet $2,000 doesn't mean they don't have good fowl, doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing, and doesn't mean that you can't learn something from them. Right? Yeah. Montreal, you're exactly right, man. They realizing it. That's right, Joshua. Yeah, man, you gotta, you got to keep an open mind. And like I say, just goes to show one of the top teams here on the island. Him and I had a conversation. I went out to his farm. I spent all day out there with him. They cook ribs, rice and beans, all the staples, all the Puerto Rican food staples. We talked chickens and all of that. I got to look at a lot of stuff, a lot of fowl on his yard. It was just it was amazing. It was one of the first yards that I've been to that had 100 sparring roosters. 100 just for sparring. 100. I was like scratching my head. 100? He was like, how many you think you're going to need? You know, we got to have at least 100. With the amount that we show, we have to have at least 100. I'm like, wow. But I say all that to say, even at a man at his level, when I talk to him about different things, this dude was so open-minded. And he tried it. He tried it. And I seen him about 12 or 14 days later. He came up to me and said, hey, I just want to let you know it's working. It's working. I said, yeah. He said, it's working. That's what I'm talking about. If younger guys can understand, don't never lose that part. Don't never lose the willingness to learn something new. We all say, oh, you learn something new every day. Man, listen, we all know when some individuals get older, they get stuck in their habits. Our parents are like that. We got relatives like that. So we know it. So don't try to use these old cliches. We learn something new every day. If you ask a person to write down what they learned new today, they probably couldn't even write it down. Ask them to write it down every day, and a lot of people couldn't even write it down because we thinking we're learning something new every day. No, you have to intentionally learn something new every day. Montreal, I ain't gonna get in what I told him. That's right. Let me put this up here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, Lee Betts said, yeah. Lee Betts said, Jeff Harris can tell you we had an invitational around our house that was pretty tough, and I believe it, and I definitely 100% believe it. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, I think sometime that we glorify this sport with all of these highlights. You know what I'm saying? Like we glorify. I think, and I'm not gonna blame it on social media, whatever the case is, whatever the cause is, I don't know. But all I do know is I believe, I feel, not believe, I feel we glorify the wrong aspects of the sport. I don't think we glorify the necessities that is required to keep our culture alive. That's what I don't think we glorify. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. We glorify all these wins. We glorify the trophies. We glorify, oh, he came out clean. He never got touched. We glorify, got a 90% winning ratio. We glorify, I beat this person. We glorify, I won this derby. We glorify that. But we don't glorify the things that's required to breed better birds. We're not glorifying selection process. We're not glorifying a clean, organized yard. We're not glorifying health. We're not glorifying that. We're not glorifying dragging that water hose in 100-degree heat. We're not glorifying cracking water cups. You know, like we're not glorifying the work ethic, which is the thing that's the foundation that is required to keep our culture alive. We don't glorify that. Think about that, guys. Think about that. And ask yourself, why? Why? I hate being like the villain. But I'm only the villain because ain't enough other people talking about it. um, so it's just I'm going to try to do my part, but I can tell you this one thing. Some may say, what is the whole point of glorifying that? You know why? Because I don't think everybody in this sport should be in this sport. I really don't. I don't think this sport is cut out for everybody. I don't think just because you have a yard and you have enough money to purchase fowl and buy feed, I don't think that, you know, that means that you should be in the sport. And the individual can say, well, who are you? I'm not saying you should or shouldn't be. I'm not saying the individual should or shouldn't be. But think about it. I mean, what do y'all guys think? Do y'all guys think that everybody in this sport um really belong in this sport? So I don't know. I mean, what do y'all guys think? I want some feedback. I don't want to just be sitting here talking. I really want some feedback. Do y'all guys think everybody in this sport really belongs in this sport? I'm gonna tell you my opinion. I say no. It's a low cost of entry to get into the sport, right? It ain't like getting into the NBA or getting into Major League Baseball or football. That's a high level of entry. Like you got to go through a lot to get into it, right? In this sport, you just need some grass outside and enough money to buy some chickens and be able to go to the nearest feed store. You know what I mean? That's the level of entry. That's the cost of entry into this sport. And the lower cost of entry historically in anything in life, you will have more of the wrong people enter the industry than the right people. Yep. I'm just reading some of these comments. But I don't think everybody in this sport belong in this sport. I'm sure we all know some individuals that don't even belong in this sport. Let me give you a group of guys that don't belong in this sport. The ones that only come around during show season. You don't see them no other time of the year. They might holler at you. They might swing past. They ain't gonna swing past and grab a rake and help you rake a yard. They ain't gonna swing past and help you bust a water cup. They not gonna swing past and help you worm, delouse. They ain't gonna swing past on none of that. But when season come in, they're gonna always swing past with that bet money. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? And I understand that everybody plays a role. But if you look at way back in the day, gamblers wasn't as needed. This sport was more of a sport and not an industry. Well, more of a sport and not a business. Back in the day, it was more of a sport than a business. Today is more of a business than a sport. Hey, this is a funny one right here. Thomas said, "Yeah, no, everybody don't belong in this sport, but no, but they the ones to make our wins easy." That's right. The baby need new shoes, right, right, Thomas? The baby need new shoes. Ah, ah. That's right. Yeah, some of them will be in a few years, and some of them won't. And that's the way it is. And I think, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, like I said, I'm just reading the comments, and you might be able to read them on the screen. Some of them on the screen, some of them not. Um, but guys, y'all 100% right. And I said what I said. Now I know I have personal friends that's only going to show up when it's when the season kicking off. That's the only time that I know they're coming around. I know guys that only come around when the season is jumping off. Um, I know individuals that's not going to pick up no rake. I know guys that's being overworked. I know guys that's in partnerships that's not working. I know all these different types of scenarios. That's why I speak on these things because I'm speaking on something. If you've been in this sport long enough, you know I'm not lying. You know I'm not lying. You know I'm not talking out the side of my neck, and you know I'm not lying. Hmm. You know it if you've been in this sport long enough. Ah. Yeah, here's one right here I like to talk about. Craig is saying that I don't like the ones that luck up and win Derby, put it on Facebook for the world to see, and it's going to cost them in the long run. I agree with you 1000%. Um, social media has allowed a lot of individuals to take credit where credit is not due. Let me repeat that. Social media has allowed individuals out here to take credit where credit is not due. We have an industry, a business that guys are capitalizing on other people's success. Um, and the credit is not due to them. It's not due to them. Um, but again, that's another part of the glorification aspect of this sport. Why the same one showing a picture of a trophy is not making a little educational video on how they keep their pens clean, or what kind of water cups they use that don't crack. What do they do in the wintertime since they can't drag that 100-foot hose because it's frozen? You know what I'm saying? Why they don't make a video, those type of videos? Why the only time you see them is the 3 derbies they win that whole season? They showed in 12 of them, but you only seen them in 3. So did they only compete in 3, or did they only win 3? You know what I'm saying? It's just something to think about. And I think the over glorification on a snapshot of this industry, to me, is misleading to the younger and newer generation, because it's more work in this sport than leisure. It requires more discipline and dedication than passion. So again, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So if you are out there, and if you want to do your part, because they always say if you want to change the world, you got to start with yourself. They say if you want to change the world, change yourself, right? So if you're not making those kind of videos, when you do post one with a trophy, ask yourself why you didn't post one about your selection process. Hey, you might, and nobody telling you to share your secrets. Why you not posting one and say, hey, these are the kind of water cups that I use to keep from cracking during the winter? Or, hey, I can't drag the water hose, 100-foot water hose in the winter because it's frozen. So this is what I do. I remember El Chicano doing an interview. He talked about how, because it gets so cold where he at, how he soak his corn in water, because the water freezes up so quick. They get 1 or 2 pecks out of it, and then it's done, right? So he talked about how he soaks his corn during the winter, and that keeps his birds hydrated. Do you know I had another guy that dealt with cold weather like that up north? Now, El Chicano is in the south, but I had a young guy say, hey, I started soaking my corn because I seen that interview with that guy. I started soaking my corn. That's the kind of stuff that is needed to keep our culture alive, is the educational aspect. You know how much work that is? You got to put in work. Now he got to drag those 5-gallon buckets of soaked corn around to feed. That's the kind of information we should be exposing the younger generation to. Because then they might be like, woo, I live in the cold weather. I don't think I want to get 100 birds. I don't think I want to get 50 birds. Because in order for me to do it right, I'm going to have to drag 2 5-gallon buckets around. So I only want 25, because then I know I can take care of 25. You see what I'm saying? But there's not enough verifiable or personalities that is saying that to where they like, oh, that guy right there, if he said it, I'm gonna respect it. There's not enough of those individuals out there that's talking that. And that's what I'm saying. That's the part that we can do on a personal level. And it's not about getting likes and follows and all that, because you don't know who watched it, and you don't know if it helped anybody or not. Like, I would have never known that individual in the north start feeding soaked corn because the interview I did with somebody that lives in the south. I would have never known that until he messaged me. So it just goes to show that the information is powerful. With Journey to the Pit, we don't harp on no glory stories or no old war stories, or you did this, you did that, you came out clean, never got hit, you won 90%, and these ones is unbeatable, and I whooped everybody all over the globe. And no, we don't talk about that. We talk about all the other stuff, all the nitty gritty, all the real world stuff. Not those couple of derbies you won that season, right? Yeah, I'm just reading some of these comments. Got a lot of great comments coming in, guys. Keep them coming. Keep the comments coming. Um, yeah, let's listen. This is a great. Royce put this up, and I want to talk about this comment right here, because I had this conversation this morning with the individual from Alabama. I had this conversation this morning with an individual from Alabama. But Royce said that some folks don't want to spread any knowledge. I think they're afraid that if they help a beginner out, one day it be their biggest rivalry. I'm glad you stated that, Royce, because look, this is the conversation that we had this morning. Anybody thinking that they have some secret, all you have to do is ask them what's their winning percentage. If it ain't 100%, then how good is the secret? Even if they said, well, it's 90%. Okay. Well, the guys who whooped you, that 10% that whooped you, do you think they was doing the same thing? No, they was doing something different. So how about you would have faced those guys that's that 10%? How about you face them 90% of the time? Then that means your record would be 90% losses and 10% wins. Think about what I just said. So this whole concept of I don't want to tell a man my secret because one day I might face into him, to me, that means that you don't have the confidence. Either you cheating and you don't want to teach him how to cheat, or you're not as good as you think you are. Because you can tell an individual every single thing that you know, and it does not mean he's going to put it together the exact same way. That's number one. The second thing is he do not even have the same exact foul. So who cares if you teach him everything? He don't have the roosters unless you don't think your roosters is better than his. That's the only way he's gonna beat you, right? If you teach him everything that you know, then the only way he can beat you is two ways. Either he got better roosters, or he put it together better than you did on the day of the show. Yep. And 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 I'm reading some comments to see who I'm gonna pull up next on this comment board. Okay, Alan. Yep. Alan, I think we go here, Alan. Yeah, I'm gonna start putting them trying to I see they come up. Guys, do me a favor. Can anybody let me know? Can you see the small comments that is scrolling on the screen? I can see it on my screen, but can you see the small comments on y'all guys' screen? I can see them on my screen. But let's talk about what Alan said. Alan said, learning conditioning today, big secret. Anyone can get great foul today. That's a two-part question. I'm gonna respond, just give my opinion on two parts. I think conditioning is definitely a very important part. Also, with that, conditioning is only good in relation to how healthy your in relation to the healthier foul. If you don't have healthy foul, it don't matter what you condition is gonna be trash. If your foul's not healthy, your condition is gonna be trash. The keep is gonna be trash, right? So definitely, not only learning the conditioning, but learning how to keep healthy foul throughout the year. So when you do put that conditioning on them, all you doing is polishing. You just polishing them. They already have the foundation. You just polishing them. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question, and y'all guys might completely disagree with me. Y'all guys might completely disagree with me, and I'm 100% okay with it. And please post it in the comments so we can start a conversation about this. Tell me what y'all guys think. Alan said that, and Alan is old school. Alan said today, anybody can get great foul a day. I have a different perspective on that. I personally believe there's a lot of trash foul out in the market. They might have a lot of fancy names to them. They might have fancy wing bands to them. They might have beautiful plumage. They might have a beautiful tail. But there is a ton of trash foul in our industry. I think it's more trash foul based on percentage wise. I think it's more trash foul in our industry today than it was back in the day. Let me tell you why I feel that way. Let me tell you why I feel that way. Because back in the day, the advertisement was you and your fouls performance. That was your advertisement. That was your marketing. Your marketing was your ability and your performance and your fouls performance. That was your marketing tool. And not only in the not only in game foul, in dogs is the same way, is other animal industries is the same way as well. That's how it was back in the day. But more so in chickens because things are illegal, so it's different now. But today, all you need is technology and you become a superhero. That's it. Today, all you need is a phone and get on these apps. And you ain't got to prove nothing. You ain't even got to be in the industry and individuals is buy foul from you. There's more individuals today breeding foul that know nothing about foul. So I think back in the day, on percentage wise, not the amount, but on percentage wise, there were more good birds than trash. Today, I think it's more trash than good. But the good is better than the good of yesteryear. Did y'all hear what I just said? Tell me if y'all agree or disagree. On percentage wise, I think back in the day, they had a higher percentage of good birds versus trash. Why? Because your marketing tool to sell birds was your fowl's performance. Today, I think we got more trash than good birds because today your performance is not needed in order for you to sell fowl. Do that make sense? Guys, let me know in the comments so we can turn this into a conversation. Because like I say, I would really like to turn this into a conversation. Now, lastly, I think the birds today were better than the birds of yesteryear. Guys say, well, how can you say that when you wasn't in it yesteryear? I'm just looking at it based on the evolution of technology, of feed, of science, of everything, even with humans. Humans running faster today. Horses is running faster today. Dogs are running. Greyhound dogs are running faster today. Overall, doesn't mean that everybody out there ain't breaking records, but overall, everything is faster. Everything is better. Cars get better gas miles than they did yesteryear. So that's how I'm making that uh analogy. Well, that's where I get that perspective from. And there's guys on here that are better a better person to answer that question because they would been in yesteryear and they've been in today. And I have talked to many of them. And many of them have said the best of the best today was better than the best of yesteryear. And again, they contribute that, like I say, to the feed, the science of the better understanding of chickens, the digestive system, how to work them and conditioning them, just a better understanding overall. But what do y'all guys think? Hey, that is a good one right here. Alan, you hit the head. You hit the nail on the head. Alan said no. Alan's old school now. Alan is old school. Alan Alan said that's true, but you don't get them at the dollar store. And I completely 100% agree with him. That's what I mean. People think because you can go out here and buy a beautiful fowl, that means they're automatically good. It is more trash in this industry than good fowl. But you know the thing about it is, nobody talks about the trash that they buy. Nobody talks about the trash that they sold. I mean, that they buy and that they show, not sold, but showed. Nobody talks about the trash they sold. Nobody talk about that horrible performance they had at the show. Nobody talks about the birds that they brought and they crossed into their stuff and it's straight garbage. Nobody talks about that. So it gives you this illusion that is so many good birds out here. No, it's only because everybody only talks about the glory. This market is not full with a whole bunch of good birds. This market is infested with a bunch of trash. That's it. If you travel around and you get involved, you will see a whole bunch of trash. I'm just saying. And I'm talking from experience. Yeah. So, Alan, tell me. So, Alan already agreed. He agreed with what I'm saying. And Alan is old school. So, he know back then and he know today. And Alan also said, today, they cut better and they smarter. Like I said, I didn't eat nachos from at the Bayou Club 40 years ago. But again, talking to individuals like Alan that been there and done that, the birds are better today than they were back then. That's it. Just like the horses are faster, the track athletes are faster, the football guys hit harder, the boxers are in better shape. It's just what it is. I'm just reading these comments, guys. Nobody has told me, and I'm going to ask y'all guys again. We got 40 people on here. I'm asking y'all a simple question. Can y'all guys see these scrolling comments on the screen? I can see them on my screen, but I only put them there hoping that y'all guys can see them. Anybody out there, I need somebody to tell me, can you see the scrolling comments on the screen? Yeah, I'm scrolling down, guys. There's a lot of great comments coming in. A lot of great comments coming in. Yep. Yeah, a lot of great comments. Josh said the right selective breeding. Know when you fail, hard work. That's true. That's so true. Roy said if you breed 100, you're only gonna keep 8 to 10. I've only been backing into it about 2.5 years. Yeah. Okay, good, Wonder Boy. Okay, so you can see. All right, all right. Okay, that's everybody on YouTube. Okay, and Facebook, you can see it too. All right. Okay, do y'all like that on here? Because I can remove that off of here. The only reason I put that on here is so it's easy for y'all guys to see what I'm seeing on these comments over all the different platforms because we streaming to my profile, to the Journey to the Pit page, and then also on YouTube. So I thought it would be great for all of us to see the comments. Yeah. Now this is another great one. VV Man. VV Man said, I brought some trash and I'm thinking you saying was giving some aces. We hear that a lot, right? Now let me tell you the flip side of that. I bought some aces and I was giving some trash. Remember that story? If y'all guys been following me long enough, a lot of you have. Remember that story I told you how one of my most embarrassing moments here in Puerto Rico was the fact that when my bird flew out the pit, that bird was given to me. I never had a bird that I bought fly out the pit. Nope, I take that back. I did have one. Yeah, I did have one. And I actually bought him. When I bought him, he lost, but I bought him because to me, all wins is not wins and all loss is not loss. That'll be our next topic. But yeah, the most embarrassing moment that I ever had was a bird that was given to me. Yep, that was the most embarrassing moment. So just like Vivi said, he brought trash and was given some aces. Again, he brought trash. He brought trash, and some aces was given to him. Me, I brought aces and was given trash. So everybody got different experiences, and there's always two sides to it, no matter how thin you slice it. What my mama always say. Um, okay, Josh said you see it, but you can't really read it. Is it too small? This is a good one. Daniel said that he bought some flea market birds and they were runners in the spur, but they were good in the SK. Yeah, we heard that, but yeah, yeah, and and I think that's what give that SK a bad reputation. Um, because yeah, I think it gives them a bad reputation uh because it's very difficult. I ain't gonna say it's a lot harder. I ain't gonna say it's very, but it's a lot harder than winning that gaff than the SK. But I hate to say that because I may be wrong. I don't know. I take that back. I don't want to say that. I take that back. I don't want to say that. Yeah, I think all of it is tough. All of it's tough. But to to complement or continue on what he just said, I'm a believer that foul is bred for its tool. I believe that. I believe that. I believe foul are bred for a particular tool. That's what I believe. Um, yeah, that's what I believe. And let me tell you why. I know we all got, these scenarios where guys are saying, "Oh yeah, my birds can compete and win in every tool." My next question or follow-up question to that is at what level though? At what level? That's what I would say. At what level? Of course, all birds, any bird can compete in any tool because they're gonna throw they legs the same way. They don't know what's strapped on it. They don't have the slightest idea what's strapped on it. They're gonna throw their legs the way they throw them. But it takes different characteristics to win in different tools. All you got a quarter horse and you got a thoroughbred. Quarter horse is named a quarter horse because it's the fastest horse in a quarter mile. A thoroughbred can run a mile, right? A quarter horse can't beat a thoroughbred in a mile, and a thoroughbred can't really beat a quarter horse in a quarter mile. Now, can you get a thoroughbred that can beat some quarter horses out here in this world in a quarter mile? Yes, you can. You can. And you probably can find a quarter horse that can beat some thoroughbreds in a mile. But overall, a quarter horse is the fastest horse in a quarter mile. A thoroughbred is the fastest horse in a mile. Overall. So when you hear guys saying that their foul can compete in all tools, ask them at what level, right? And ask them to show you the proof. Because it's hard enough to get something that's bred for a particular tool to even compete at the highest level, let alone something that's bred for anything. I mean, I don't know. It's like having a SUV. Is it better than a car or is it better than a 4x4? Just because it has four-wheel drive is really not better than a 4x4. And it don't ride exactly like a car. You see what I'm saying? So that's what guys are saying. They got SUVs that is better at monster truck and better like better ride better than this Cadillac over here, and it's better than the 4x4 monster truck. Nah, I don't believe that. It might ride better than some cars, but it's not gonna ride better than the best car. And it might can go in mud and dirt and puddles, but it ain't gonna go in an extreme like the trucks that's built for that. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. Yeah. No, Alan, I can't help you with that. Only thing I can help you with is you just gotta contact the president of that yeah, I don't know. At the GBA, yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Alan. Um, yes, Anthony. Anthony said that the tool plays a huge part of the selection process. The tool and the time limit to me dictates the selection process. I think those things dictate the selection process. The tools and the time limit. Yeah, I'm just reading some comments, guys. Yeah, Craig, I'm big on hens, brother. I'm big on hens. I'm big on hens. I'm big on hens. Um, okay, Lee Best said the roosters for sure SK here isn't what I select for the SK in Mexico. Yep, I'm just saying. So when somebody tell me they got birds that can compete in every weapon, I always say at what level, because the hardest level, that's just very hard to believe. That's very hard to believe because to me, in my personal experience, is different. The requirements of the characteristics is different. It's different. It's different. And I'm talking from experience. I have seen some get away with stuff that if they had a different tool on their legs, they wouldn't have got away with it. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. I'm talking from experience. Yeah, Alan, I don't really know, brother, what exactly what you mean. Send me a message, man, and we can talk about it. I don't really know. I'm a little confused right now. So Lee, tell me this. Lewis says same SK2, different rules. We know it's the same. We know the tool is the same. We know the tool is the same. Lee, can you share with us uh in a selection process what different characteristics are you looking for? Hey, Lewis said, yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute too, about the ACLs. Is the ACL still doing before we get on that? But Lee, if you can share with us um whatever different characteristics, because I agree, I don't think it's the same. But I do hear guys say it is. I got enough experience to know. Again, can they win? Yeah, they can win. But we talking about at what level? I think the higher you go up, the less the all around Roosters gonna win. I'm telling you that right now. Maybe at this level, they can compete in every weapon. But the higher you go up that food chain, it's almost like anything else. Race cars, race horses, race dogs, hunting dogs, all that. When you start climbing that ladder, that's when it become more specialty. Ain't no all around rooster. No, I don't believe that. See, look at that. And Lee, I tell you one thing. That is where, and I'm talking from experience, not no hypothetical. That is what. That is why guys competing in Mexico, and y'all guys don't know this, are crossing American fowl with Spanish. I know this for 100% fact, and I know for 100% fact it works and it wins. I'm telling you 100% fact. It works and it wins. And it works and wins for exactly what Lee Best just said. Spanish birds are notoriously accurate and hitting that neck and head. They super accurate because they can hit a moving head that's this small and it's moving and they can hit it. They can hit a neck moving and they can hit it. I'm telling you. And I learned that from some Mexican friends of mine. So I'm telling you from 100% experience. Spanish crossed with American does very well in the SK in Mexico. But it hasn't become a trend. And that's actually good it hasn't become a trend. Because when it do become a trend, you'll see Americans with 500 Spanish birds on their yard. I probably need to delete that part out the whole video. Oh man. Oh man. Alan, I will get with you after the stream. Yes, Royce. Royce, you hit it, brother. Let me tell you, uh I have never seen a bird more accurate than the Spanish. Undisputed. And let me give you an example why. For something to move, to hit a moving head, that's moving head, got to be extremely accurate and has to be extremely fast. Guys think because something doesn't shuffle that they not fast. It's like a guy hitting you with a laser fast jab. Just because he throw a combination don't mean he going faster. Just because he throwing a single jab don't mean he's slower than a guy who's throwing a combination. Just because you see a whole bunch of wing flapping doesn't mean they're faster than a Spanish bird or single stroker. Doesn't mean it. And I'm talking from experience. Good luck on that Cuban Dom, man. Cubans is so mixed and mangled up, dude. I don't even know if they even got Cuban bird. Cuban and Puerto Rican, then mixed and mangled that stuff up so much, I call them all Spanish. You still got guys that say, oh, I got Cubans. I don't know the difference, man. I really don't. I really don't. Yeah. I just look at when they compete here, the Cubans from Miami come and compete in Puerto Rico. Just look at I ain't gonna tell you the results. Just look at the results. So I don't know if Alan, if you want a Cuban, you might just need a Spanish. You might need one of these Puerto Rican birds. Boy wonder. Yeah, I agree 100%. Exactly, Anthony. Like hitting and moving great with an arrow. Yup. Yup. If you know, you know. Yup. If you know, you know. Daniel said, the higher you go, you got to have a lot of selection and consistency in your feeding, training, etc. It's all got to be on point. You don't get second chances in the big leagues. Exactly right. That's why this all-around bird, it can compete in every weapon and is good at everything. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't see the same guys winning in the SK, winning in the Gap, and winning in the in the in a LK as well. And guys like, well, this trophy's from this. I sold these to these guys, and I sold these to these guys, and I sold these to these guys, and sold these to these guys, and it's all possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it's highly unlikely when you go to a certain level. I don't know. And I'm just saying this from talking to many guys that's at those levels. I don't know. It's like taking a Spanish. It's just. I don't know. I don't think it's likely on the majority. Is it possible? Yes. Have some people done it? Yes. But I always say, at what level? Has the same family won at Copper State, Mid America, the Intercontinental, and a World Slasher Cup, that's hard for me to believe. I'm just saying. You ain't got to agree with me. That's just hard for me to believe. Yeah, just hard for me to believe. Yeah, Alex, that's exactly right. You know, Alex says sports are different. That's right. Definitely is. Definitely is. Um, just reading these comments, guys. You say I'm giving away the secrets, brother. Nah, I mean, look, like I say, um, I hope it don't catch on because, like I say, everybody and their grandmama be selling them. They'll be selling a whole bunch of untested foul. It is just to me, it just destroys it. When something becomes a trend, has destroyed everything. Not just in chickens, it has done the same thing in dogs. When German Shepherds became a trend, it destroyed the breed. When Dobermans became a trend, it destroyed the breed. When 101 Dalmatians came out, it destroyed the breed. I'm just saying, every time something becomes a trend, it destroys it. That's it. It destroys it. That's right. Yeah, it's a great comment. There are different leagues, and the style of the bird dictates the type of tool to use. That's exactly right, RC24. I race RC cars, man. But yeah, back in the day, I don't do it today. I still got my RC stuff though. On road. I used to race on road. I got still got my truggy and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, I totally agree. Yep. Yeah. Naval, get with me. Nava. Nava, get with me. Send me a message on Facebook. Yep. Hold on here. I hope all y'all guys have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Hope y'all have subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you haven't, go on over there and subscribe. Yeah, go on over there and subscribe. Hey D, I ain't gonna put that on the screen. Oh my god. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right on that, Alan. You're right on that. You're right on that. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Yeah. So tell me this, guys. How are the ACL crosses doing in Mexico now? You know, any of y'all guys who know anybody down there or anything like that, how are the ACL crosses doing down there? And the only reason I'm asking because I don't hear about them as much as I did 2 years ago. I'm sure they're probably still doing well, but how are they doing? Um, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. And Royce, you're exactly right. Roy said, that's like the Blues 20 years ago. Nobody wanted them. They bled too easy. Someone started winning with them somewhere in between my time of owning them. Now everybody has them or want them. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Alex, you're right. The Shamu, all them cross, people try different things. Everybody trying to get better, but it all dies out at the end. Lewis said, not as common. Lewis, are you talking about the eight seals and now not as common as they were 2, 3 years ago? Yeah. Hobby. This is what. Hold on. Hold on here. Okay. Now, Javi, Javier posted this comment, and I want to talk about this comment because I got the receipts, and y'all can go back and fact check it. He said that those ACLs are not as good as before. Guys got a new line of blood that can compete against them, right? If you fact check, and I think Facebook now are deleting a lot of your past videos. I'm pretty sure we all got that notification that a lot of the old videos that you have, Facebook is deleting them. They're not keeping your videos more than 30 days. I hated if I'd have known that, I'd have downloaded a lot of them. But what he just said is what I said years ago. And I even said it in interviews. I said, y'all guys are jumping on that trend, right? I said, but the good breeders are going to adjust their selection process to defeat those ACL crosses. And that's exactly what they have done. I already know the answer. I just was asking to see if y'all guys was in tune. I already know the answer. The same thing happened in Puerto Rico. The same thing happened in every other country. I already knew those ACL crosses wasn't going to be as popular or wasn't going to be winning as much. You know another reason I knew that? Because as soon as everybody named Mama start breeding them, that means there was nothing but a bunch of trash going out. That's all that meant. That just meant it was just a bunch of trash going out. Right. It's a bunch of trash. Exactly. Here it go. Here it go. Also, a lot more bad ACLs are being sold than good ones. Good ACLs will always be around in Mexico. Exactly. Exactly. Like I just said before he posted that comment, I told you, once something become a trend and everybody named Mama start breeding them, you're gonna push more trash out there than good. Now, like Lee Best said, the ACL still do pretty good. You can't stand around with them. You got to have a rooster that fight their fight. That's how it always been, and that's how it always will be. But they ain't doing good overall like they were before. Why? Because when everybody named Mama start breeding them, is more trash being put out there than quality. So what Lee Best is saying is the individuals that got access to the good one, that's got the good ones, that's breeding the good ones, that's what he's talking about. That's not the majority. And if it's the majority now, it ain't gonna be the majority in 5 years. It ain't gonna be the majority in 2 years. The longer the trend goes on, the more downturn the quality get. That's in anything, guys. That's in anything. They was dominating 3 years ago. Everybody their mama. But how about now? I knew it was coming. I already knew it was coming. What's up, Jason? I hope you're doing well, brother. You and the family. Hey, Jason said, right on, Jim. Everybody had to get their dose, me included. I know. I'm not saying this to get credit, but all y'all old timers, man, none of y'all guys back me up. None of y'all guys back me up. None of y'all guys agree with me. So I'm taking all this credit all by myself because I was a lone villain out here. I was talking like a talking bobblehead. All y'all guys thought I was hating. All y'all guys thought I didn't know what I was talking about. Here we are 3-4 years later, exactly what I told y'all is happening. And it ain't because I ate nachos at the Bayou Club. I just already know what trends do. A trend has a universal effect in anything. Let me give you another example. Look at cars. Toyota wanted to outdo General Motors as the company that produced the most amount of cars in the world, right? When Toyota focused more on production and not on quality, they did overcome General Motors. But you know what happened? They had the most amount of recalls in Toyota's history. Baya. There you go. I'm just saying. It's universal across the board. Trends destroyed it because everybody named mama bought them because of a hustle. That's it. And that means that even people who knew nothing about breeding start breeding them so they can sell them. And those crosses work good. But the problem of it is it's easy to do good on your first cross. It's hard to maintain those crosses over time. Because once guys start losing, they stop using them. And see, that's why it's hard to establish long-term success with them, because once guys start losing with them, they stop using them. And once they stop buying them, breeders stop breeding them. And that's why it's always going to be a minority group that will have good ones. But they ain't going to stay a trend long. Now Toyota don't make more cars than General Motors. Now they below General Motors, but they still making better cars. Now they making better cars. And I got that straight from the CEO's mouth for Toyota. During his shareholder meeting, he stood right on stage and said it out of his own mouth. We focused more on production to overcome General Motors, and we didn't focus on quality, which was the foundation of our company. I'm just saying. Yeah. Man, y'all guys got some excellent comments coming in tonight. Oh my God. This is so funny. But I am going to still tell y'all now, all y'all old school guys, man, y'all didn't back me up on that, man. Y'all didn't back me up. I see Lee, you still holding on to it. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Lee Best, thank you very much. Y'all guys, if y'all guys don't know Lee Best, the dude is old school. The man that competed all over the world at the highest level. I got the utmost respect for his insight. That's the reason why I'm bringing his comments on here. But Lee, again, I got the receipts. You can fact check the videos that I said. And I think some of them are still on YouTube if they haven't been deleted. Like I said 3 years ago, and what I say before Lee Best put up there. 3-4 years ago, what Lee put up there 3 years ago. See, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. What Lee say? 3 years ago, 90% of it was 90% A sales at the mega. How many is it? 90% today? Yeah. We don't want to have that conversation. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What did I say 3-4 years ago? That good breeders was going to adjust their selection process to defeat those ACL crosses. That plus everybody named mama start breeding them. That means it was more trash being pumped out than quality, more quantity than quality. And once these guys lose 2 seasons, they won't ever buy them again. And once the big breeders or any size breeder stop getting orders for them, they stop selling them. I mean, they stop breeding them. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm just saying, don't say I wasn't right. And I know some of y'all guys will say, oh, this guy is arrogant. He's an call me what you like. I called it years ago. And I'm not a genie because it's universal. Trends destroy everything. Animals, cars, everything. Real estate became a trend. The housing crisis came. Stock market became a trend. The stock market crashed. Toyota try to overcome GM, most recalls in a history. I'm just saying, it's universal. Instead of guys spending time trying to follow trends, they should be focused on adjusting their selection process like some of the best breeders did to destroy that trend. Mayo from Mayo Ranch, when I interviewed him, what he say? He loved to see those ACL crosses across from him. You know why? Because he got the antidote for him. Yeah, he got the antidote for him, like he said in his interview. I'm just saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. John said, no, John, we know the ACLs ain't them big old heads on it. You got that right. Those big old heads on. That's funny. Yeah, like I say, man. Look, I told a guy, had this conversation too. It is hard enough to do well with foul that is actually bred for that particular weapon, right? And then when you start trying to mix and mangle all this other stuff in it, like Frankenstein birds, not saying it doesn't work, but you just got to be prepared. It's going to take a long time for it to do well. And guys get confused. They think because they have that short term success, like they did with the A SEALs, they had short term success. But guys realized quickly that they couldn't maintain it. They had to keep buying roosters because it wasn't no good after two generations. It wasn't no good. So they had to keep buying roosters. They get old real quick because you have to test those two, second, and third generations. And then once you start doing all that losing, you don't want to be bothered with them at all. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. This is another one. That's right. Exactly what happened with the Pavas and the Pavas is like Oriental crosses and Shamus crosses in Puerto Rico. That's exactly right. They are no longer as dominant as they was. They was dominant years ago. They were dominant years ago. But again, it is so difficult to maintain that dominance or maintain those consistent characteristics. It's difficult. It's not easy. And once guys start losing in their second generations of them, they like, I'm getting rid of that mess, man. I'm not messing with that stuff no more. I'm having hard seasons. I'm losing my money. I'm taking all this space up, and these birds are losing. It don't take long. It don't take long. It don't take long. Y'all guys got a ton of great comments coming in, man. Keep these comments coming in. Y'all got a ton of great comments coming in. Yeah. I tell you, um, Royce is saying the only good thing I can't see about him in the Alabama Heat, they're better equipped for it if they're pure A seals, but you build a bird, build for the humidity, you'll be, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they bring something to the table. They have a immune system like an armored vehicle. A seal got an immune system. I'm telling you, their immune system is extremely tough. They got a very strong immune system. And when you cross them into it, they bring that immune system with them. So they got, they do bring something to the table. But like I say, all these train riders jumped on that train and had the success and got the trophies and all that. Second and third generation, they realized they had to keep going back to that same breeder to buy more and realize that they wasn't as good as they were when they bought them 3, 4 years ago. Now, like Lee said earlier, 3 years ago, 90% of the birds in the Intercontinental was A seal crosses. Now look at them now. Yeah. Uh-huh. That didn't age well, did it? That didn't take long to age out, did it? Mm-hmm. And I'm clowning it because it's so funny to me. Because Many people didn't want to hear it when I was saying it because I was saying it at the top of the market. Guys thought I was hating and all that. No, I wasn't. I was just speaking the truth. That's all I was. I didn't have no skin in the game. I wasn't selling something else opposite of that. It didn't matter if they did good or bad. I didn't win or lose anything. I was just speaking the truth. And it turned out to be exactly what I said. Just look at the entries at the Intercontinental now versus like Lee Best said 3 years ago. And now you know I was telling the truth and I wasn't hating. Yeah. That aged real good, didn't it? Uh-huh. Okay. Lee Best said the last fight of the Intercontinental 2 years ago, we watched a green-legged gray stop one on his line. I told my buddy, did you see what do you see what it takes? He never let up. Mm-hmm. Yep. He never let him set up. Never got in his position. Exactly. And by knowing that, that's how you start adjusting your selection process. You don't get the ones that's chilling. You get the ones that's on him and it's done. Don't let him play his game. But that green-legged gray showed what it takes. Showed what it takes. And there was a lot of guys like Lee Best and his partner sitting on the sideline saying, bang, now I got the antidote. Now it's those guys, those old school guys went back to the lab, started adjusting their selection process, start testing and tuning out in the field, and got the mix. Yep. And that's never going to change because it's something else that's going to come up. That's the same thing. It's something else that's going to come up. The original Gamecock, to me, is going to always come out on top. It fell out of popularity, at the top of the food chain for 3 or 4 years. Now it's pretty much back to where it was. And it's going to do that. It's going to do that like anything else. But the deal is they got what they needed for the two weapons that they compete in. They got it. All you got to do is adjust that selection process. Yep. So another great comment. It takes good, honest family of foul, as well as adjusting your selection process in order to be consistent and put up at the pay window, which is true if you're going to keep the same birds and not follow trends. That's exactly right. I never um I never suggest following any trends. If you want to be a trend rider for short-term success, so be it. So be it. And there's nothing wrong with it. If it works for you, then do it. Um, but at the end of the day, um, at the end of the day, it's just I don't know. I'm definitely anti-trend. People come and go. Remember podcasting was a trend during COVID? Everybody and their grandmama had a podcast. Journey to the Pit was up long before the pandemic, right? And you've seen all these people pop up with podcasts during the pandemic, and then they realize it ain't easy. Then they realize it ain't easy. A lot of them never got past 10 episodes. They realized it wasn't easy. And some of them went a little longer because they couldn't get out and about and couldn't do anything. But once the world opened back up, that podcasting thing went out the window for them. Royce, I think you're doing the right thing, brother. Roy said, I think I will stick with my Kelsos, Hatch, and Grays. I think you should as well. I think you should as well. Yeah. But I just had to get I just had to get yeah, Lewis, I agree. Trends come in 3-year cycles. Yep. Like I said, didn't I say earlier? Second and third generation. Second and third generation. Them crosses always do good. Get it down to a core, that's another generation. But after that, it's very difficult to maintain that stuff. You constantly find yourself losing and then going back to the drawing board. It only take a couple seasons. You give guys two losing seasons, they're gonna get rid of all that stuff. They're gonna get rid of all of it. They ain't nowhere near as the man. A lot of these guys that I've seen selling a whole bunch of them ACLs and ACL crosses, look at their pages now. Now they back to selling what they were selling before that trend came along. Look at it now. Don't take my opinion. Don't say I'm a hater. Look at it. Look at it. Yep. Yeah. So that's it, man. Hey guys, we had a really, really good conversation. I know this was spare the moment. We didn't have many people watching, which is fine. I just wanted to come on here just to talk chickens for anybody who wanted to talk chickens. I might do this more often, just get on here and talk chickens because it ain't no stress. If y'all guys got any topics y'all want to talk about, just post it in the comments. Um, and we can have a conversation about it. I think sometimes it's better to have these lives like this than to do the talking in these Facebook groups, which I'm Facebook groups are so annoying to me. They're so annoying. Just a bunch of guys with a bunch of egos talking a bunch of nonsense that they don't even know nothing about. It's just crazy. It's so annoying. I seen a group. They were talking about Spanish birds. You can tell from the comment section, not one of them ever owned a Spanish bird, but it was 200 comments in there. How do y'all guys talk so much about something y'all never had? They so annoying, so annoying. Oh, Lewis said he always here for the ACL. No, I'm not bashing ACLs. They have some great ACLs in Puerto Rico. They have an ACL club here that has some great ACLs in Puerto Rico. I'm not bashing ACLs. I'm bashing the trend, Lewis. I'm not bashing ACLs. I'm bashing the trend and the trend riders. That's what I'm bashing. That's what I'm bashing. I'm bashing the trend and the trend riders. That's what I'm bashing. Yeah, I'm not bashing the ACLs at all. Yes, sir. He got some good ACLs, Alex, for sure. No, the top level to me, in my personal opinion, don't have anything to do with money. The top level has something to do with performance. And I can tell you what, right now, everybody at the top level winning don't have money. Don't have money. Now, don't get it confused. There's a lot of guys who was not top, I mean, who competed in top level that didn't have money. And when they did win, they took all that money and reinvested in their farm. I know that for a fact. So when people look at the facility, like, oh my God, look at that facility. Looking at that facility, that guy had a lot of money. That's why he winning. Actually, his winnings is what got him that facility. It wasn't the money who got him the winnings. It was the winnings that got him the facility. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I look at. Saying that's what I look at. Everybody winning ain't got no whole bunch of money. Because to be all honest, man, the average guy can afford can afford the entry fee to Intercontinental. They can get, if he can't afford it, he can get a couple of his buddies together and they can afford an entry. There's no entries out here besides some of these ridiculous entries out here, which I think is nonsense. That you get enough guys together that you can compete in. And I know some guys personally that group together to get in to get good entry, and they won not too long ago, and it was a big pot. So I know for a fact that he doesn't have money, and I know for a fact how he entered that derby. It was him and 5 other guys, and they got in. Yep, yep. So yeah, yeah, Lewis. Top level is about focus, about the quality of the foul, how good you can feed, how hard you compete, not about the because all of everything else is just entry fees. If you think about it, you can't say just because this guy got greener grass and nicer TPs and nicer pin and nice fly pins that he should be able to beat you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So um at the end of the day, health is health. You can have a healthy chicken in a raggedy pen, but not standing in a mud puddle, and you can have that same healthy chicken on a brand new TP. It ain't got nothing to do with being a brand new pen. I mean, a brand new TP in a rusty pen. But if he's standing in the mud puddle with building materials left in his pen and not getting wormed and and making this excuse that he never need clean water and blah 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 blah, and then you can't beat the guy with the TP with the brand new TPs. Don't say you lost to him because he had money. No, that wasn't the reason. Okay, Daniel. So Daniel said, this is a good one. So Daniel said, and I know what it takes because I have personal friends of mine that entered this last intercontinental, and I think they took fourth place, and they're not rich. They don't have money. Um, so yeah, la, 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 la. Okay, so Daniel said, let's talk about the next time what it takes for the regular guy to be able to participate in the intercontinental or the mega. And I can tell you right now, Daniel, the vast majority of them people competing in that are regular guys. Majority of them are regular guys. Yeah. Yeah, majority of them are regular guys. Yeah, Alan, I believe it. That's where the gamblers come in. Sometimes you need the backers, and the backers only there to try to win some money. But sometimes you need them. See here. Uh, no, Craig, that we don't use the word hack here in Puerto Rico. So no, hack is a term that American game fowl breeders use. We don't call them hacks. We don't hack birds. All birds are conditioned. All birds are showed at the Coliseum. We call them the galleta. In Mexico, they call it the palenque. In the States, they call it the pit. But yeah, you don't use the word hack. If you ask a person here, do y'all hack fights? They don't even know what you're talking about. So no, we don't hack fights in Puerto Rico. And we do have tournaments here. Um, but I don't know if you consider if it's not in a tournament, then that means it's a hack fight. We don't look at it that way. That's a term that's an American term. So no, we don't look at it that way. No, we don't do it's against the law to fight. It's against the law in Puerto Rico to show birds outside of the pit. You can only show your birds inside the pit. You can't show birds in your backyard. No, no, you can't. That's against not only Puerto Rico's law, that's also against federal law. Yeah. So no, we don't do any hacks. That's good, Javier. That's good. Javier said that he sent his birds to Pachuca and they did good. That's good. That's good. Yes, it is minimum bets. Yes, it is minimum bets. All of the referees here are licensed. The sport here is ran by the government. Everything is regulated, from the weapons you use, the size, the difference in the weight of the birds. All referees are licensed by the government. Everything is ran just like a legitimate, because it is a legitimate sport here. Yeah, so we don't do hacks. No, ain't doing no hacks. We don't do hacks. No, it's a legitimate sport. We're not just going out there throwing birds in the backyard in the dirt and letting them show. We don't do that here. Yeah. You can't replace good blood and work. The first is the standard. Yeah, right. Okay. I thought we was gonna get off here. Y'all guys keep coming in with all these questions. Adam said, you can't replace good blood and work. The first is the standard, and the other is performing. Yep, I agree. No, Alan, Americans can't go against Spanish because there's a huge weight difference. Average Spanish bird is under 4 pounds. Yeah, the average Spanish bird is under 4 pounds. And believe me, guys, for the ones that don't know, if American crosses Spanish will be able to dominate here, then Americans will be here taking everybody's money. Americans go to Mexico, they go to the Philippines, they don't come to Puerto Rico. It's a whole different ball game, a whole different weapon. They haven't found the recipe. It just don't work. It just doesn't work. Many people have tried it. It just doesn't work. Is there some success stories? Yes, it is. But I always say don't never focus on a minority, focus on a majority. Yeah. Health is wealth is not only your belief, that's my belief. That should be everybody's belief. Not only in chickens, but definitely in humans. In humans, you can have all the money in the world, all the success, all that. But if you're sick, only thing you're worrying about is two things. Will you get better? And when you're going to get better. That's it. So health is 100%. Under 4 pounds. Most birds here are under 4 pounds. You do, again, since the guys who like to focus on minority, you do find ones that's 4'1", 4'2". Yeah, you'll find a few. But if you go to the galletas every single day, you ain't gonna find one of them in there every single day. That's how much of a minority they are. Just doesn't work. And I hear a lot of guys, oh yeah, well, I got some birds that hatch late, so they came out small. That ain't gonna work, dude. Birds are bred for their particular weapon. And some guys' ego is so big and they so delusional that they think just because they got a small American that it can compete. And it can't. It can. The ones, and I ain't gonna say no names, the ones that have brought them over here, they end up running. Or if they didn't run, they got destroyed. And if they didn't get destroyed, they got gassed out and then they got destroyed. Because they're not bred. They can't throw feet. American birds cannot throw feet for 8 or 9 minutes straight. They're not bred for that. They're just not bred. That's it. They're not bred for it. Yep. Ali, you said you'd rather have 4 pound birds. I guess so, man. I guess so. Peter, that's a question you can ask the Americans because here in Puerto Rico, birds are bred. Birds are we don't we have one season. We don't have 4 seasons over here. So you'll be crazy. Some birds are mulching throughout the year. Birds are being born throughout the year. So, it's kind of the same as the States, but then it's not. Yeah. No, Birds of Paradise has his own channel. He's doing his own thing. You can know all about him by just watching him. Yeah, Alex, I know. They have tried and it just doesn't work. Right, exactly, Alan. 4'3" is bottom weight. And see, this is what guys don't understand. Once you start trying to breed an American bird down to 4 pounds, you got to understand that it's going to be a lot of stuff that is also going to go away. These guys think they can take a bird that's normally been, for 10 generations, been 5'4" or something like that, and think they can breed them down to 4'3" and think they're going to keep all the same identical characteristics. And the only thing they lost was the size. You're not creating birds in a test tube. You know what I'm saying? You think if you take birds that's 5'4" and breed them down to take them down to 5'4" and breed them down to 4'1", 4'2", the only thing you losing is size? You telling me their style is not? I just don't believe that. And if that was the case, they would have been over here taking their money. Just doesn't work. And there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know why some guys be so stuck on trying to make something work that ain't working. Christian, it take more than being game, man. It take more than being game. So no, it takes. Listen, this sport is multi-dimensional. It's not just one thing that is keeping these guys at the top of the food chain. It's a combination. And as soon as individuals realize that it's a combination, the faster you'll get a better percentage. But many guys are being held back because they putting too much emphasis on the wrong thing. And typically the wrong thing is one thing instead of putting the emphasis on multiple things. Exactly, Lewis. Exactly. Lewis said it right. Changing a bird like that will make it lose its functionality. Exactly. You know what I mean? It just changes them. It changes just like when you cross a donkey and a horse makes a mute. It just changes them. And some guys think, oh, I can breed them smaller. And man, it's like you just delusional. First of all, you don't think somebody already tried that? This is one thing some guys got to understand. You ain't came up with nothing that somebody else has not already tried. And the sooner you know that, the better. Now, I'm not saying don't try it. Just found out how they tried it and find out how to try it a little different. That's all. Yep. Batista is the weapon here. Um, yeah, yeah, Lewis. Yeah, I mean, you can't believe a brute face to a round head body and expect it to be. That's what I'm saying. And guys, y'all know if you don't know, I didn't seen all the weapons. I didn't see the performance in all weapons. So I mean, I got a great idea of what it takes to compete and all of them are hard. One is no better than the other. It takes the same amount of dedication and discipline to be good in every single weapon. Guys like, oh, I don't like the knife. I don't care what you like or don't like. If you don't like it, don't participate in it. That's all I say. But one is no better than the other. They all take dedication. They all take hard work. They all take good selection. They all take good genetics, good health, good conditioning. They all take the same identical thing. They all take the same identical thing. Drag racing and NASCAR take the same amount of dedication. They two different cars. They drive different and all that, but they all got four wheels on them. They got different engines and different driving techniques, but it still take the same amount of dedication and commitment and all that. It takes the same. One ain't no better than the other. What's up, NTX? So I like all colors. To be all honest, one of my favorite colors is Doms. We call them bullicos. I love bullicos. I love the color. Um, yeah, but I like all colors. I personally, um, I'm not completely attached to any particular color. I'm attached to performance. I'm okay with filling my yard up with a bunch of Rubios, Blancos, Bullicos, Cenisos. It don't make a difference. I'm attached to the performance. I'm attached to the family and a fowl that can perform. Um, doesn't mean I want a yard full of Skittles. Doesn't mean I want 5 different colors on the yard. But I'm not really attached to any particular color. But I do like Doms. I love Doms. It's a particular color for me. Um, yeah, that's on the Spanish side. I wouldn't say my favorite in the American verse is Doms because I don't think, first of all, they're the minority. And I really haven't seen any good ones, which I know there are good ones out there. But yeah, so Doms, Bully Codes, Doms are my favorite in Puerto Rico, but not in American fowl. Yeah, I just like them all, man. That's the thing about them. I see beautiful ones in every color. I see beautiful ones in every color. In every color. But I tell you, one of the nastiest. I was talking to a guy the other day. A Puerto Rican was asking me from the states. Been a lot, seen a lot over there, a lot over here. Back in the legal days, and I'm saying literally back in the league because he's been in Puerto Rico a long time. So, um, but he was asking me because he come from Ohio. He was asking me, um, what is my favorite American? And I really don't have a favorite because, like I said, I like them all. But the nastiest bird American in an LK that I have ever seen was a claret. I'm just saying, and y'all guys know I have seen a lot. The nastiest, one of the nastiest, if not the nastiest birds I've ever seen in an LK was a claret. And you know the crazy thing about it? The guy only had about total, I'm talking about the brood, cock, and everything, about 7 of them. And before I knew that, I said, man, I don't even want American bird, but I would love to have one of those. And he said, I will give you one when we breed, but right now, all we got is about 7. That's including the hens, the brood cock, and the ones. And I'm telling you right now, that was one of the nastiest birds I have seen. That bird was wicked. I'm talking about wicked, 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 wicked. Let me read some of these comments. What weapon do I like the best? That's a great question. I know y'all might think I'm biased because I'm here in Puerto Rico, but I like the Batista the best. Um, Let me tell you why. And I'm sitting here thinking, and again, as a disclaimer, it takes dedication, commitment, sacrifice, good health, good genetics, hard work to be good in every single weapon. I'm a true believer in that because I've seen it all and I see what it goes into. But I like the Batista. One is because typically you're going to be able to show them more than one time, and it's probably can be even more so related to the American Gaff, where it exposes your health, your conditioning, and your genetics. It exposes your health, your conditioning, and your genetics. That's what that uh, Batista weapon exposes. And I'm sure it was the same thing in the gaff. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you don't need those things in the other two weapons. I'm not saying that. So do not come in the comments and waste your time. Because like I said before, it takes that in all of them. But I think it's more prominent in American Gaff and a Bautista weapon. I think it's more common in that. Especially with the health and the conditioning. Well, no, I take that back because those things are required for all of them. So I don't want to sit up here and try to act like one is better than the other because I'm not a believer in that. But if you ask me what was mine, no, Al, it's not turtle shell. Turtle shells went out decades ago. But yeah, Bautista's and it has always been my favorite, but I'm fascinated by all of them. That just give you a prime example. That claret had an LK, and that was one of the nastiest birds I've seen. And that was an LK. So that just gives you an example. I'm definitely not biased. Nastiest ones I ever seen. Woo, I was like, woo, good God. I mean, my chin was down here. I was in awe. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, good God Almighty. Wow, wow, wow. That's all I was able to say was wow. Yeah. I'm just reading some of the comments that's coming in. The Bautista is like a mixture of a plastic fiberglass type of weapon. It's a little less than 1.75 inches. Is an inch, it's less than 1.75 inches. Is a 1.6. So that's a little over 1.5 inches, and a little, less than 1.75 inches. So yeah. Yep. So yeah, man. I mean that's it, guys. But if y'all guys don't have any other questions, I'm gonna tune out. I don't even know what time it is. I know most of y'all guys done tuned out because we done been on here. We done been on here 3 hours, man. See how we can talk chickens. See how we can talk chickens. Hey, brothers, I really enjoyed it. I guess the next topic. I don't know when y'all guys want to do this again. Let me know in the comment section when y'all guys want to do this again. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah. YouTube ain't really that's the issue. Well, my YouTube right now is shadow banned, just to let you know. Yeah. As often as possible, huh? Okay. I would say tomorrow. It will probably have to be tomorrow or Sunday. Because I'm at the pit Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday. Monday's good, okay. But to be honest, Tuesdays will be a better day because I didn't go to the pit today, but I usually go to the pit on Mondays as well. But after this week, no, after this month, I won't be going to the pit on Mondays. I didn't go today. I had some other stuff I had to do. It was too late, so I didn't go today. But yeah, we can probably do it either Mondays or probably Tuesday. I think Tuesdays at 8 would be better. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I may can do Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, because after this month, I won't be going to the pit on Mondays. Because Mondays used to be a good day, but this pit that I go to on Mondays is closed. It's closing. But I am at the pit Wednesday through Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I would have to do it on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday. Yeah, I was thinking Tuesday at 8 because when I started Journey to the Pit interviews, I had planned on doing it Tuesday at 8. But I don't know if we're gonna have something to talk about tomorrow. We spent on here for 3 hours tonight. Do y'all want to do tomorrow? Y'all want to talk chickens tomorrow at 8? I don't think. Or y'all want to do it next week? Y'all gotta let me know in the comment section. It's 48 of y'all on here watching. It ain't gonna take you but 2 nanoseconds to text to post in the comments. Do y'all guys want to do this tomorrow at 8? Or do y'all want to wait the next week and do it next Tuesday at 8? Next week? Tomorrow? Tomorrow? Come on now. Come on. We got 48, almost 50 people on here. 8 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. Hold on. Right now, wherever y'all time is at, because I don't know what time y'all at. But right now, it's 10:56. So almost 11 o'clock. So that's Eastern time, right? I think that's Eastern time. Yeah, I think that's Eastern time. Um, what time is it where y'all at? What time is it where y'all at? Okay, Eastern time. Okay, okay. Okay, so yeah, so it would be if we did it tomorrow, it will be 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, you must be in Alabama. NTX, you're in Alabama. Lewis Central, you in Alabama. Eastern, 10 o'clock Eastern. Okay, I'm Eastern. CWC, you Eastern time is CWC. And Daniel, it's 10:57. That's right. Okay, so Daniel, are you in the Eastern time? Yeah, brother RC, you exactly right, man. Okay. Yeah, so Eastern time. So it'd be 8 o'clock Eastern time. If y'all guys want to talk chickens tomorrow. It's up to y'all. Or y'all want to wait till next week. Okay, so somebody is 2 hours or 3 hours behind. So you must be in Cali. Yeah. Tomorrow. And we got all off topic. Yeah, we got all off topic. Okay. Okay, so Michigan, are you in the same time as us? So Raiders, it'll be same for you, 8 p.m. Okay. All right. So guys, in the comment section, I'm about to get off of here. Y'all guys post in the comment section what y'all want to talk about. We can do it tomorrow at 8. We can do it tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we don't have to be on here for 3 hours, and we can just talk chickens. So y'all have a good night. I'll see some of y'all tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all have a good night, and it was a pleasure. Look forward to seeing y'all guys tomorrow. And make sure y'all guys share the video so other people know, and put in a post if y'all can on y'all pages. That is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Journey to the Pit YouTube channel, Journey to the Pit Facebook page, and Jim Collins Facebook page. All right, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all have a good night. Stay focused, stay positive, stay blessed.